more wrongful detentions, and also the deportation of undocumented immigrants with no criminal record.
There was never a clear path for us.
A college student who was wrongfully pulled over wound up detained by ICE for weeks.
I want to hop into one of the more meaningful CNN panels we've covered on the channel, featuring a teen who ICE held for weeks in detention despite not committing any crime. So if you can, take a moment to first leave us a like on the video. Gives us a huge boost in the algorithm. We really appreciate it. And let's jump right into the discussion.
Stephen Miller and HHS Secretary Kristi Noem demanded that agents triple the number of daily arrests that they were making, despite recent border crossing numbers plummeting. Immigration advocates are warning that this push could lead to more wrongful detentions and also the deportation of undocumented immigrants with no criminal record who have lived in the United States for years and who are otherwise contributing members of their communities. One such case has made headlines in Georgia, where a college student who was wrongfully pulled over wound up detained by ICE for weeks over her undocumented status. Ximena Arias is now out on bond, and she's speaking out after she was accused of making an improper turn and lacking a driver's license earlier this month in Dalton, and she was arrested. Following a review of dashcam footage, though, police determined that, quote, Ms. Arias Cristobal's vehicle appeared similar to the offending vehicle, but was not the vehicle that made an improper turn.
And after realizing they made a complete oopsies, this is someone who works, a college student, has never committed a crime, they still kept her detained for weeks due to being pressured to crack down on deportations because despite them, the Trump administration violating constitutional principles and court orders and even deporting legal residents, student visas, and a US citizen, Trump is still falling short of his target numbers that he said he would reach on the campaign trail, which is funny for how MAGA wants to talk about quotas being bad. They're seemingly fine with quotas when it's Trump giving them to ICE. It creates the same issue that it would with police, however, but with more gross human rights violations possible. I mean, obviously, wrongful arrests will be made in hopes to meet these numbers. And in this case, those contributing, following the law, those who are fully integrated into American culture, end up being targeted like this lady.
When did you first learn that you were undocumented?
I think I was it was very early on. I was probably around 6 or 7. My parents made it very clear, and ever since then I've known.
Had they taken steps prior to all of this to attain legal status? Had that been something ongoing?
Yes, it was. I know a lot of people think we've been here 15 years. We had enough time to obtain citizenship, but to be honest, it's very, very hard to obtain citizenship or residency. We tried various times. We hired lawyer after lawyer asking what's the pathway to citizenship, residency, or a permit, and they just told us you have to wait for something to change, or you have to wait for Ximena to get older and get married, or have U.S. citizen children. There was never a clear path for us.
And this is always what's missing in the cruel way that MAGA likes to discuss immigration. It's the context and understanding of how our broken immigration system hinders people from taking the steps they need and actually exacerbates the issue. And in many instances, these are innocent victims of that broken system, not nefarious criminals sneaking across the border and taking advantage of it. This girl speaks English more fluently than Spanish. She has been here since she was a toddler. She attends university, works a job, pays taxes, and yet she was detained for weeks and now at risk for deportation because why would that be justified? I mean, what happened to wanting to only rid of the criminals? Why is it just brown people now writ large being targeted, even ones who have never committed a crime in their life like this lady? In no way does it make sense to target migrants like Ximena. I mean, unless the motivation is strictly racial, that is the only motivation, the only justification. It's economically less feasible, it's morally less justified, and just logically dumb.
We tried to take the steps to do so, and the system didn't really allow us to. So I would just tell them to be a little bit understanding, be a little bit compassionate towards people in my situation who truly don't have a criminal record, who are working, who are a great example of what a citizen should look like. They should give us an opportunity and find a way for us to be able to be here legally.
I remember watching the dash cam video of your arrest. It was startling for you. I could tell, because at one point when the officer said that you were under arrest, you responded with that you couldn't miss final exams. You're majoring, I understand, in finance at Dalton State, where you were in scholarships to attend.
I love that CNN did this segment because it shows that these people are hardly the aliens or criminals that MAGA likes to paint them as. They're just regular humans like you or me. She's a college student. She's a daughter. She's a kid who was nervous about her final when being arrested without committing a crime, knowing she was undocumented. Her final exam was still the first thing that came to her mind. And this is how it is for most migrants. They commit far less crimes than US born citizens. They pay more in taxes than most billion-dollar corporations. They work at similar rates while also creating jobs if given the opportunity. Mass amnesty is the only answer, right? Like, stop the gross violation of rights, stop the dehumanizing language, stop the fiscal irresponsibility and wanting to deport these people to prioritize cruelty over ease, efficiency, and do what's best for America and the migrants. Any undocumented immigrant without violent offenses in this country should be granted an immediate pathway to citizenship. And these are conversations that need brought back to the mainstream now.